And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Settlers of Catan is a very popular game, and it was a very popular variation of that, Star Trek Catan. I never thought we would see those two things put together, but lo and behold, they were. Well, now we have a brand new expansion for Star Trek Catan, Star Trek Federation Space. This is essentially some pre-made maps for the game. Not much more I can say about it. Let's look at it. Alright, this game comes with two pre-made maps. This is Federation Space map number 2, and this is Federation Space map number 1. So we'll take a look at number 1. Now, when we compare the hexagons on this map to a regular one, you can see that the regular hexes are bigger. There's actually more hexes on these maps. But one of the cool features of these maps is how the planets get bigger depending on the numbers on them. You can see that the largest planet, take a look here, see how large the planet 6 is, and then the planet 9 is a little bit smaller, then the planet 4, then the 3, then the 2. You can see how each of those planets gets smaller. That's a nice visual representation of which numbers are best. You can see that some good spots here between the 6, 9, and 12. There's two large planets and then a very small planet. Now, this game is going to play essentially exactly the same way. I mean, you still have your Klingon ship that flies around and will start off the board and come on eventually. One of the main differences, though, there's two main differences. First of all, you will follow very strongly putting your ships on these lines. So the ship has to go on a line. If there's no line for the ship to go on, it can't go on it. But there are red lines, and I very much like these red lines. When you put a ship on a red line, then they will have the benefit of that space station here, which lets you trade 3 for 1. So finding out where the space stations are, it's very obvious. That's what the red lines are for. Another nice thing about this game is that you can only build outposts on these spots that show them. So that shows that I can build an outpost there, and this shows that I can build one here like normal. And when you're building a line of ships, let's say for example I have an outpost here and I built a spaceship here, here, and here. Before I go farther with another spaceship, I must build an outpost there. I can't ignore that spot. I have to put an outpost on that spot. And you can see, because of these outposts, a spot where you might normally think an outpost goes, they might not be able to go. And it's even possible to have outposts that are directly next to each other like this, unlike the regular game. So this keeps people from trying to figure out, oh, where am I supposed to put my outposts? I need to make sure they're 2 away from everybody. No, a whole lot easier. You simply place them on these spots. There's also a lot of spots on the board that are victory point spots. At the beginning of the game, you'll place a victory point on each of these, and the first person to connect to these with a spaceship gets that victory point and puts it in front of them. Because these extra victory points are included with the game comes with some more of the scoring hexes and also comes with 11 pieces. So if you want to play a game that's higher than 10 points, once you go by 10, you put this 11 on the board and use that as your scoring marker. Other than that, the game plays essentially the exact same way. It's just that you have a pre-made map, specific spots where you can put your outposts, and victory point places on the board. The rulebook, though, is huge. Why? Well, first of all, you have your page of rules, and then the rest of the rulebook is an almanac. And if you like to see each of these planets on the board and what episode that planet was mentioned in and what happened in that episode, so Star Trek fans will love this aspect of the game because it's almost like a TV guide in a sense to look by and see what happens in each of these. So that's included for those of you who are Trekkies at heart. Now, I tried my hardest to sit there and see if I could calculate some difference between the maps, but there's minor differences, okay? You're going to get this because you're a Star Trek fan and want the almanac, I guess. Or, if you're like me, I will probably never play with the base game again. I mean, I'll use all the pieces from the base game, but I really like the fact that I can go board setup, you know? Yeah, it's not that much of a pain to put out the hexes and put the numbers on them, But I like setting up these pre-made maps. They're fun. And I like the fact that I love having specific spots for the outpost rather than saying they have to be 2 away from everybody else. Because then you don't have to sit there and go, okay, where can I put it? No, you can see in the map where you can put it. The victory points, I like them too. It's another way to get victory points. This is and they're good maps. They work really well as you're moving around on them, and lots of fun. They're slightly bigger than a normal Catan map, and they give you that feeling of exploring. And if you like the different planets, if that means something to you, that's also a lot of fun as you go around and see those. I like Star Trek, although I'm not Trekkie enough to know what all the planets mean, but I did get a kick out of it. Now, I still think Star Trek Catan is currently my go-to way to play Settlers of Catan. I'll play the Star Trek method, and using these maps is now the definitive way I'm going to play it, because it's a real quick setup. Boom, boom, put the victory point markers out, let's go. Easy to teach people. The fact that the planets get smaller and larger based on how often they're rolled in the dice is a great visual reminder. This is excellent to teach people who've never played the game before. So I really can't say enough about it, other than maybe been cool maybe if they'd introduced one of those maps in the original game, but that's not that big of a deal. Maybe some people don't want these static maps. For me, I think they're great, and since there's 2 of them, I can switch back and forth so I'm not playing on the same map all the time. If you like the original game, this is an excellent choice to continue. I hope they make more of these maps in the future, maybe throwing some other variants with them as time goes by, but I'm having a lot of fun with this.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.